Given all that's happened in Afghanistan recently, we wanted to make a short video just to look at the opportunities which exist for working in Dari and Pashto in this country, to see if that might be of any help to anyone who's been displaced in the recent events in Afghanistan. So CIOL is the chartered body for linguists in the UK. We're a professional body and we're an awarding organisation, so we offer some of the important qualifications which enable people to work as an interpreter or as a translator. We represent and support linguists as a profession. We set benchmarks for quality and standards. We have over 7,500 members around the world, and we are the only organisation who can award the title Chartered Linguist. Talking to our members who have connections with the region and who are from Afghanistan, they tell us that there are some significant areas of work for people who have Dari and Pashto skills. So there is demand for qualified interpreters in UK public services, in local government, in health, and in the police, supporting the police and criminal justice system. There are opportunities for professional translators in publishing and translating. There is work in journalism in Dari and Pashto, especially with the BBC, and also the National Union of Journalists supports freelance journalists in this country who have languages other than English, and we have done work with them recently promoting and supporting that. There are language teaching jobs in UK university language centres up and down the country. There are jobs with CIOL and others in examining and assessment of language levels. And then finally, there are jobs, of course, with UK government, with defence, with diplomacy, and with security. So there are many possibilities for people with Dari and Pashto skills in this country. But we wanted to talk today to someone who has a lived experience of that. So we wanted to talk to Mehdi Bahrami, who has Farsi, Dari, and Kurdish Sorani. He is a member of the Chartered Institute of Linguists. He's also a member of the National Register of Public Service Interpreters, which is a very important and useful body supporting interpreting in this country. He has the diploma in translation and diplomas in public service in Dari and Farsi. So those are the qualifications that we offer, CIOL offers, which qualify people to be interpreters and demonstrate the highest level of skill in translation. And he's a member of other important bodies, as well as recognised by the Home Office and other national institutions. So let's talk to Mehdi.
Good morning, Jan.
Good morning to you, and thank you for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having me.
So the first question to ask you is, what languages do you have, Mehdi?
John, I speak Dari, Farsi, and Kurdish Sorani, and for the latter, I have to thank my mother, who is Kurdish and got married with my father, enabling me to learn a new language apart from the official languages spoken in the country I resided. And during the last 2 decades, I have obtained a few qualifications, including DPSI, both in Dari and Farsi, language service certificate in Dari, Farsi, and Kurdish Sorani, Met Police certificate, which these days is called Diploma in Police Interpreting. And last not least, the Diploma in Translation, which is a postgraduate certificate. And as you stated, I have managed to get these qualifications all through the Chartered Institute of Linguists during the years.
Fantastic. And they are really important qualifications, aren't they? Because particularly the DPSI and the DPI, these are the expected standards for working at the top level in UK public services. So it's really important to have those.
Precisely, yes. And I use these 3 languages professionally in at different levels and contexts. For example, in the world of conference interpreting, simultaneous interpreting, I work as a Dari and Farsi into English interpreter and vice versa in Europe with the European Union, European Commission at ministerial level. And as a public service interpreter, I use my language expertise to assist different service users, including law enforcement forces, home office, law firms, hospitals, courts, tribunals, etc. I also use my language expertise to provide translation and transcription services. Also, I'm also a voiceover artist on a freelance basis in Dari and Farsi.
Fantastic. So it would be hard to find someone who has more experience than you, but how did you first get started using your languages in your work?
Oh, actually, it's a very good question. I started to help others initially and act as an interpreter on voluntary basis. And it goes back to 1995, 1996, when there was a huge demand for interpreting services because of arrival of a new wave of asylum seekers from Afghanistan and Iran and Iraqi Kurdistan. So I started to work for the Iranian Community Center based in London. And it was a charity organization that provided different services, including interpretation services to both Afghan and Iranian refugees for different purposes like welfare, housing, legal advice, hospitals, education department, etc. I was so passionate about this due to my own background, John, as a refugee. And these days, looking back, I never forget about my challenges as a new arrival in this country, with no connection almost, and almost no information about anything in a new, completely different environment. In fact, this passion and a strong feeling inside me formed my future career and paved my future path, which so far has lasted for about 25 years.
Fantastic, fantastic. And of course, that is one of the big challenges with public service interpreting, how you demonstrate your hours of experience, and community volunteering is a really important way both of making a connection with the communities that you're living in. So it's a source of support and friendship, but it's also very, very helpful in terms of achieving the hours of experience that some of the employers will be looking for.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
Yeah, very good. So what aspects of your work with languages do you find the most rewarding? What do you feel proudest of and enjoy the most?
John, actually, it's a very good question too. Let me answer this question in a different way, because I don't want to be economic with the truth. So I say this. From the materialistic point of view, I financially manage my life by using my language expertise and language skills. So everybody, as we know, have to pay for the bills at the end of the month and support the family. I can say I'm glad that as an interpreter translator, I found my job financially very rewarding, and I never felt worried about the money side of my career. However, the most rewarding aspect of working as a linguist for me personally is the time when the service user or the service provider appreciate my efforts, my work, and respect my experience. When, for example, a high-profile speaker thanks me for interpreting simultaneously and help them to convey their message precisely with no omission or addition or mistranslation from Dari to English or vice versa. For such a job, you may receive 500 to 600 pounds per day, depending on different situation, which is fantastic. But the sense of professional satisfaction and acknowledgement for me cannot be measured with anything else. Or when colleagues from Translators Without Borders inform me that the voluntary translation work I have completed for them have been used for crucial charity projects targeting vulnerable Afghan or Iranian migrants living in hardship in, for example, Greece. these are very important and rewarding.
Wonderful to hear. It really is. I mean, I think that's the thing, isn't it? The importance for other people and the human connection and the difference you can make to another person's life, particularly in some of these public service interpreting contexts where it can make an enormous difference to another person's life. So really, really good to hear that. So if other people, and in particular, if people who are finding themselves now in the UK were thinking about a similar career, what advice would you give to them?
I can say if you are new or want to start a career as a professional linguist, begin with a small, practical but constant steps. Start the preparation course. Get involved with the course which prepares you for such a purpose, and prepare yourself and get the necessary qualifications. Aim for that, and find and participate in training courses, which in the UK are in a great number offered by different organizations, including CIOL. And do voluntary work with your community organizations or agencies, according to my own experience. And do not get disappointed if you fail to pass a language exam for the first time. This is very important. In addition, you may want to consider the membership of the language professional organizations. And in my experience, remember, even the most unbelievable dreams can be achieved, provided, if I may say so, we can make a tangible link between our little steps, our efforts, and the dream in our daily life.
Wonderful advice. Small practical steps, and it's the Chinese proverb, isn't it? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first practical step. So, so thinking about what has recently happened in Afghanistan, is there anything specific that you would want to say to people who have been displaced that might give them some help or some hope?
John, actually, is a very sad when anybody wants to talk about this matter. However, this is a reality, unfortunately. And as we know, the failure of international community's missions in Afghanistan and the unbelievable falling of the country after 20 years of hard work in the hands of Taliban cannot be described with any term rather than a horror or full tragedy. Millions of lives were upside down in the matter of a few days, and chaotic scenes, especially at the Kabul airport, brought tears to witnessing eyes of all people. Actually, about maybe it's worth it for people to know that about 1 week before collapsing the Afghan government, I was approached by the MOD, Preferred Language Agency, for the job of helping the British forces for interpreting during interviews of the eligible Afghan families at the airport, Kabul airport, for the purpose of evacuation and bringing them here. This didn't happen, and just a few days later, Taliban seized Kabul, and as a result, many of Afghan interpreters working for the foreign forces in the country had to hide or go to the safe places to avoid being hunted by the Taliban. However, as we know, some of our colleagues and their families were evacuated, luckily, and they fortunately are in the UK in a safe place at the moment. So there are surely opportunities for those Afghan linguists to start settling in the UK and use their language expertise for the purpose of work and employment in this country. According to some statistics, if I'm not mistaken, the UK government has allowed 20,000 Afghans to come to the UK under a settlement program. This means a lot of job opportunity for the newly arrived Afghan linguists, both Dari and Pashto speakers. In recent weeks, there have been rapid and growing requests and calls for Dari and Pashto interpreters from local authorities. I have received some of those job offers, local authorities, relevant agencies, and they have already started to recruit more Dari and Pashto interpreters, both on freelance basis and with contracts, employment contracts. This situation offers some opportunities for Afghan linguists, enabling them to enter the job market and being employed by using their language skills. I strongly advise Afghan linguists, Afghan colleagues to search through internet and social media for job opportunities.
That's fantastic, Mehdi. That's fantastic. I mean, is there anything else that you would like to say today? Because I think that's incredibly helpful advice you've given us.
John, actually, there is a few organizations which offer free professional support and help guidance on housing, employment, immigration, welfare, jobs for the new arrivals, specifically for Afghan arrivals. And a couple of these organizations are Afghanistan and Central Asian Organization. They have a site. And also Afghan Association of London. They have also in Harrow, based in Harrow, they have also a website and email address. And another organization, Payvand Afghan Association, which means Unity Afghan Association in Brent. There is a lot of opportunities to get in touch with those organizations and offer your expertise, and also fill out the job vacancies there as a linguist, which is in a great need these days.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, look, this is not the last time we will speak because we want to continue to provide support and resource and signpost places that people can get help if we possibly can. So can I just say thank you very, very much indeed for giving us your time this morning. And, you know, here's hoping that, that some of what we've been able to say here provides a little bit of help and support to people who very badly need that right now.
Thank you once more, John, and thank Chartered Institute of Linguists for all its efforts to help the Afghan refugees and Afghan linguists arriving here.
Thank you, Mehdi.
Thank you.